Prithviraj, welcome to India today.
Thank you so much.
This is truly exciting. I think we are sitting on the brink and the cusp of something that the entire country and perhaps the world has been waiting for.
Oh, thank you so much. I sure hope so.
I want to take you back in time and perhaps run you through your earliest memories of just enjoying movies in theaters, especially big ticket films.
Yeah.
You know that adrenaline rush that you
Yeah.
get. And that's when you realize, okay, one day maybe I want to be behind this camera and do something.
Yeah.
What are your earliest memories?
So, as strange as it might sound, I wasn't a film buff per se growing up. But my dad, for a brief while, used to head the Kerala State Film Development Corporation. So, those days, sometimes he would go to these government owned theaters without letting anyone know. He would take me along. And it'd be like a second show of some film, and I would be sitting. We'd go in the seats below where it's like those days like a 25 rupee ticket and all that, and you'd just sometimes watch a film there and all. This happened a couple of times, and I think and when I say the question would be is that film age appropriate and all that, but some of my initial when I now look back like this impressions that were created, I remember him taking me to watch Schindler's List, and I was like really deep.
How old were you?
I think I was in my fourth or fifth standard or
Wow.
something, So, and I remember it really disturbed me, the film. And it was great because he was also a teacher. He was a professor, my dad, lecturer, an English lecturer. So he had a really strong grip on history and all that. So then I remember after watching the film, he would talk to me about what happened, during those times, and this is what happened. It's like a major watershed moment in human history, blah blah blah. So I think suddenly it started working on me that, oh wow, cinema is so powerful as a
Right.
medium. There are the way you can tell stories, and then I started getting a liking for going to theaters and watching cinema. That's when it started. Like I sort of enjoyed going to theaters and watching films. But it's again not that I used to go to a theater every week and watch a film.
Right.
I actually started enjoying cinema more after I became an actor.
Okay.
I was not someone who ever wanted to be an actor. I was pursuing studies somewhere else, and I was just offered an opportunity to work in a film, and I thought I'll just do this one film and go back to college. And I did that one film, and that went on to become like a big hit. And that's how I sort of realized that, okay, maybe this is what I want to do with my life. And it's the process of working in cinema that really opened up the magic of this craft for me. Then I sort of really enjoyed the whole process, and ever since then I've just been constantly learning, and I'm still learning. It's just this wonderful medium where you really can't ever stop learning. Just every day there is something new. So yeah, that's how my journey has been. I know I'm very privileged that way because I'm pretty certain somebody who's always wanted this way more than I do, somebody who's probably way more than talented than I am, somebody who deserves it more than I do, is out there waiting for that one opportunity still. I'm aware of it. Yeah.
You mentioned such an important point, which is you need to enjoy your craft.
Yeah.
When you go on set on that particular day, you shouldn't think like, oh, I'm here in the middle of it. You need to enjoy. And the second point you mentioned is that you learn and you unlearn.
Yeah.
How much of unlearning happened while working with Mohanlal sir? Because you perhaps need to sort of become like clay and mold yourself and then let go. I know this really well, but maybe I'll try something different.
Yeah.
Did you have that process with him?
Yeah, so there's a lot I've learned with him. Most of all is actually the contact about how you should be with a director. He's really opened my eyes about how I should be with my directors. Because at day one of Lucifer, I remember the first thing he did after coming into the shoot spot in his costume is he walks right up to me and he says, "Sir, what should I do?" And I'm like, "Sir, but your scene, I had given you the scene." He said, "Yeah, I read the scene." And I said, "This is a shot, there's a track coming from left to right and you're sitting there, and, okay, but what should I do?" So I realized that he wants to understand that what is the director expecting of him? What is the director's vision? Which is a wonderful lesson for an actor, because it's very important for an actor to realize that you are but an instrument to create the director's vision. And your ultimate goal as an actor should be to sort of help the director create his vision. Of course, then you bring in the actor's interpretation. You
Right.
bring in your layer to it and all that. So he's wonderful that way. There's a lot of unlearning that's happened, especially since I've started directing. I've realized that I need to switch off the technician in me when I'm acting. I wasn't able to do that completely when I was only an actor. I can do it so comfortably now after turning director. I know it's strange. People expect it to be the other
Other
way
way
around.
around.
But ever since I've turned director, now when I walk into a set as an actor, I'm just so comfortable completely switching off, not noticing where the camera is, what the movement is. I used to be very aware of all that before this. Yeah.
There is this strange, I wouldn't say preconception, but this notion about Malayalam films that there is no pressure to deliver box office numbers. They are so obsessed with their content and getting the writing right, and they enjoy the process so very much that they just want the audience to relish the final product. Numbers come, do not come is great, but that obsessions perhaps which maybe films in a Hindi speaking audience do have. For us, box office is so important. The media in Bombay tracks box office so closely, right? Is that liberating perhaps? Because yesterday also when Mohanlal sir came on stage, he said that it is so important for us to make films like these, to make these big films.
Yeah.
He said a lot in that because the industry, whether it's north or south, has challenges of their own.
Yeah.
What is your take on this?
No, box office is very, very important for us also. We also have a lot of pressure to deliver numbers and to make sure that films are feasible. But we have to be hugely thankful to the audience of Malayalam cinema to have unequivocally told us in very clear terms that bad films are not going to get you numbers. And thankfully, at least in the recent past, we've had a really illustrious run where good films will bring you numbers, regardless of who's acting in it, regardless of who's directing it. So that way, as filmmakers, as actors, as storytellers, we have a confidence that if you pick a story that you think needs to be told and you really stay true to it and you are honest with your craft and you make a film that treats it with respect, chances are that people will give you love. So thanks should actually first go out to the people watching the films. They have told us, listen, just stick to what you know and do it well, and we'll come and watch the films.
That's a very great way to sort of put that. And then I have to talk to you about that frame which we witnessed where we saw the two great stalwarts, the two M's, legends in one frame. It's such a rare occasion to capture that. And just that aura that they have, right? Have you ever envisioned something for them? Have you thought of writing, or maybe somebody someday will write something where we could get Mammootty and Mohanlal in a film together?
You talk to filmmakers in Malayalam, 99% of them will tell you that their dream film is a Mammootty Mohanlal starrer, maybe. Of course, I would also love to direct a film someday that has both of them, but that shouldn't be the compulsion for a film like that to happen, because that will be really not being respectful to the actors and the stars that they are. The ideal scenario would be that there is a subject that organically evolves into a screenplay that deserves these two actors in it. And if something like that happens, I would absolutely love to be able to direct it. Having said that, there is a film as we speak being shot where both of them are acting together that Mahesh Narayan is directing. So yeah, I mean, it is so joyful that the prospect of seeing them together is going to happen again, and I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
Lucifer has such a huge fan following across languages. It doesn't matter what language you speak because it's just a film that everybody's enjoyed, right? When I watched the teaser for Empuraan, I just felt that you've taken it to a next level. You've taken it a notch above. And the pressures, everybody will ask you, how do you deal with the pressures and all that? But then does one sort of take that hat off or that cap off and be like, listen, I need to just listen to my own voice and my gut instinct and follow that. I cannot listen to voices around me. How does one do it in so much of noise?
You can't. Firstly, I understand that there's a part one that happened, which went on to become like an iconic blockbuster and all that, and so there will be expectations. Pretty much everyone would have imagined their own version of a part two, and that pressure will be there. That's okay, but you cannot let that, sort of dictate how you do the film. You will have to stick to your vision and how you envisaged the film in the beginning. The good thing about the part two is that this is not a film born out of the success of part one.
Right.
It is happening because of that. But this is a franchise that was always envisioned as a 3-film franchise. Much
Trilogy.
before part one was written, we knew that it'll take 3 films to sort of complete the whole thing. We didn't announce that before part one because if part one had not done well, obviously nobody would have wanted to talk about a part two. But when part one did well, we did say that there will be 2 more films. The good thing about part two is that part one was very much a story that happens within Kerala, about Kerala politics. Part 2, although it is still about Kerala and there is Kerala politics, the narrative scape sort of now becomes national. And there is also an international plot line running.
Yes.
In fact, about 30% of the film is in Hindi because the story happens in such terrains and among such characters. And I'm very particular that all versions of the film will retain the Hindi portions as Hindi because that is the true flavor of it. When we knew that, we decided that this part of the franchise needs a proper Hindi release for the Hindi version. Part 1, we didn't have
Right.
a same day release for all versions and all that. This time, we genuinely think that this could resonate with people across the country. So all 5 languages will release the same day. The Northern Belt will have the Hindi version. And in all 5 linguistic versions of the film, the Hindi portions will remain Hindi.
That is such an interesting sort of thing to do. At a
Yeah.
time when perhaps everybody is sort of doing the exact opposite, you've maintained the sanctity of let's be authentic and real. To
Yeah.
Where are these characters coming from?
Because I think today's audience deserve that respect. You know, I think you're really undermining them if I'm going to suddenly open into MI6 and everyone there is talking in Malayalam. You know, it's just I'm really undermining the intelligence of the audience. They're evolved enough. They're evolved enough to be understanding that okay, this is the honest version of the story, and they will understand it. They will follow it. Come on, I mean, we are watching Squid Game, you know. So what is it about Hindi and Malayalam and all that? It's fine.
Yeah, we've broken and transcended those. Correct me if I'm wrong, but did you say somewhere back in the day that, you know, once you were offered a script for a Rajnikant film and you couldn't come up with something at that point in time?
Yeah, so Laika Productions, our co-producers for Lucifer 2, initially approached me to direct a film for them with Rajnikant sir. It was a great opportunity. I mean, it was they're like, whatever you want to do, any scale, anything. And unfortunately, since I'm only a part-time director, I'm not sitting with a bank of scripts that I want to direct, you know. So I did try, and I came up with an idea. So when I was in London, over lunch, I just roughly pitched this idea to Subhaskaran sir, the chairman of Laika, and he was really excited with that idea. And he really wanted me to pursue it. I did try, but I didn't have the time to develop it further because I got into the shoot of Goat Life.
Right.
Unfortunately, I had to let it go because that project had to happen within a particular timeline. But thankfully, because of that meeting and the whole ideation of a Rajnikant sir film, there was a relationship with Laika and Subhaskaran sir, which eventually led to them joining hands for Lucifer 2. Yeah.
So everything happens at the right time
Yeah, actually.
for a right reason.
Yes.
I have to say that it's very interesting that on March 27th, you will get to watch Empuraan in Hindi as well. And I think that's a brave move. And I think that's very important for filmmakers to realize. And I'm excited. I think so many people are. The love that I saw for you and for the entire team yesterday in person, and to just see the humility and the love come across for all of you guys.
Thank you so
it's
much.
So
Yeah.
rewarding. All the very best for Empuraan. And I can't wait to watch it. And congratulations.
Thank you.